Hello everybody, welcome back to Jim's Mix. Thank you for joining us, watching it live. Like and subscribe. Got a different kind of video for you tonight. It's a little sort of like a, I don't know, you can make your judgment on what it is. But sorry about it, it's been a little while since we put a video out. It's hunting season in Wyoming. Fall's here, lots of stuff going on. So all of that gun practice, reloading, and everything that was going on a while back has turned into going afield with it now, and hopefully filling up a freezer over there. Sorry about the mess in here. Welcome to my little reloading area. I won't call it a bench because it's more like a cabinet than it is a bench. But what I've got here is the RCBS Rebel press. It's one of their newest presses. I guess they're planning on it phasing out or replacing or running currently with the Rock Chucker Supreme. And I find it to be a really good press. This isn't necessarily a review on it, but it is a critique on it. It is an excellent press. It's got nice work area. This is flat instead of shouldered. And the only problem is, and you know RCBS has been making reloading equipment for forever, the big green, and they just, I don't understand why they did what they did. The press doesn't have onboard priming in the traditional sense, and it has more like something like you would see on the Forester Coax, or maybe the new Nexus that's out. But at any rate, what it does is when you are decapping and everything else, when you put the brass in and you run it through the decapping die, it falls out a hole that's in the back of the rod when the rod goes down, and it just falls out in the floor, goes everywhere. You get all of that carbon, you get all of that mess off of that brass, off those primers. They're just everywhere. And you know, it does look like a mess in here, but when I'm working, I do clean up that area at least. So RCBS does not make a spent primer catcher for this press. You can't buy it. And I've looked at those little cheap ones you can find on eBay and a couple other places where it sticks on with a magnet, and as it comes down, it'll fall out into that little tube. Those things are junk. They don't last. They don't stay on. They don't hook up. Sometimes the primers get clogged up in that tube, and you just get into a mess of stuff to do. And like I said, it's a good press. I enjoy mine. So sitting here day before yesterday, and I thought, what can I do to catch these stupid spent primers? And I'm going to ask Nick if he'll hand me an old, this is one of my old Wyoming license plates. And what I thought about was, okay, these primers are going to fall out on the table, so maybe I can catch them and redirect them. So I kind of come up with this. Now this is on a Dillon Precision mount that was for a 750 machine that I had and traded. I've still got a 550 over here. And so what I did was I started out with just an old license plate and started, you know, kind of playing with it and figuring out what might work. So you can kind of see I get into something like this where the primer will fall into the back, and then it'll make its way and kind of wind up falling out. Well, this wasn't exactly what I wanted, so I got a little sheet of aluminum, just some thin aluminum, at Ace Hardware here in Rock Springs. And this is what I came up with. Now, if you're a tin knocker or someone who works with sheet metal, I'm sure you'll do a lot better job than I did with this. So I'm going to let Nick kind of get a look at it. This press is mounted on this stand. This stand is set on 2 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood. So this is what I came up with. And I'm just going to kind of give it a slow turn, a little rotate so you can see it. It's nothing fancy. This is my southern redneck engineering, I guess you could call it, to fix a problem. My dad always said, son, if you look at a problem long enough, it'll never get fixed. Get in and do something about it. So that's what I do. So now if you want to slide, you make one something like this. This will inspire you, give you some idea, some direction. I'm not going to show you how to make it because your situation may be entirely different from mine. However, this press is still going to drop the primers down onto your table or into your floor or wherever it's at. And I guess you could straddle a bucket and use it and just let it kind of fall into a big bucket. But this one, if you cut the top off and make this part shorter, it'll go under the front. But this was just a little too tall. And I put these wings on each side so that they'll actually sit up on top of the plywood pieces and they'll actually lift it a little. So depending on what yours looks like. So now I just take it in from the back. I slide it in and under the press. It's out of the way. Doesn't bother the function of the press or anything like that. It does get in the way of this door. But typically when I'm reloading, this has got a lot of stuff in it. And if you ever want to see what's in here and how I laid this out on the inside, leave a comment in the video and we may do a little video on that. Because this is pretty compact and I've got all kinds of stuff in here. It's pretty organized, for me at least. So now we've got it in here. It doesn't get in the way of the press. It doesn't get in the way of the handle. It doesn't get in the way of working around or anything like that. Maybe I'll paint it black and it won't look so bad. When you prime now, they just come right out. They collect down here. I take a little shop vac and just take that little shop vac, some 7mm 08. What's really cool, this is brand new, once fired Hornaday brass. There was a guy in the next shooting stall from us, and he and his son were there shooting 7mm 08. They didn't reload, so they gave us all their brass. So it's all once fired brass. So they just fall in here, and you don't have that mess anymore. All that old carbon and all of that mess winds up in this tray, and you can take it out and empty it. Or I just, like I said, I've got one of those little Milwaukee 18-volt battery vacuums, and I'll just vacuum them out. So that's just a simple fix for the RCBS Rebel press primer catch issue that it has. And like I said, it is real short, real simple. For me, it took, after I figured out the angles and what I wanted to do with it, it was a matter of like 30 minutes of bending and doing some 1/8 inch aluminum pop rivets. And there it is. Sometimes the best solution is usually always the simplest solution. So thank you for tuning in again. Like, comment, subscribe, leave questions in the comments. I try to read them, get back to them, and answer them as soon as I can. And again, this is for the RCBS Rebel press. And if you have other kinds of presses, maybe you'll find some inspiration to do something different with this. Thank you. God bless.